The Southland Raiders are ready for the 2023 campaign. We'll talk with their head coach, Rod Murray, right after this.
Welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, covering local sports in the Southwest Georgia area, creating content that is factual, positive, and informative, promoting efforts by athletes, coaches, and sports administrators. Now, here's your host, Tim Estes.
Hello and welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, powered by Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. If you have any tree trimming, tree or stump removal needs, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal has you covered. They can haul rock and sand. They can repair pond dams or build ponds. They do driveway work, and now they even do horizontal grinding of large wood debris piles. Give Keith a call at 229-314-2048 or at 229-938-2412. Harper's Tree and Stump Removal is proud to be the premier sponsor of the Integrity Sports Podcast. Our guest today is the head football coach at Southland Academy, Coach Rod Murray. Man, I appreciate you joining me.
Well, I certainly appreciate being here. Thank you for inviting me, Tim.
Coach, I think this is your 8th year, if my numbers are right, going into this season at Southland Academy. And I know you spent probably close to a decade over at Deerfield. You and I have known each other a long time. For those that may not know you, just kind of walk us through your coaching journey and your stops along the way.
Well, right after I got out of college, which I played ball here at Georgia Southwestern, Melvin Kinslow hired me. So I first started at Southland, which I would consider my home. I did elementary PE and helped with football and baseball here for 6 years. And I went to Gatewood for 2 years, their head coach and their head baseball coach. And then I spent 10 years at Deerfield. It was a very good run. We won some state championships, and I was a defensive coordinator there, along with being the head baseball coach for 7 years. So we had some good times there, but I always, in the back of my mind, at the time it never worked out right, get back to Southland. And when Ty came over as a headmaster, just things worked out, and I always wanted to try to get back home. So I think I might be starting my 9th season here as their head coach, but that's kind of the journey that I've been on. And it all started with getting to know Melvin Kinslow back a few years ago and got me started.
Rod, it's an exciting time of year right now as all of our area high school teams are starting their fall camps and getting ready to open the 2023 season. What I'd like you to do is recap briefly your season from last year and then tell us a little bit about this year's squad.
Sure. Last year we ended up being 4-6 regular season, and we lost in the first round of the playoffs against a very good Pinewood football team in Belleville. Last year we got off to a great start, 3-1 out of the gate, and then the injury bug came along, and it was some pretty serious stuff that we fought through. Had some season-ending injuries to some key players, so that allowed a lot of players to get on the field and get some reps early in their career, which is going to be beneficial as we're getting going. But down the stretch against Bellwood and Deerfield, anybody that was there, those are great football games. One possession games, came down to the wire. Very fun. Kids fought to the very end. And this is for Coach Parrish. We were sitting at the Georgia-Tennessee game, and I got a call that we had made the playoffs. So Coach Parrish, I know you remember, we got back, so we got back to practice and played Pinewood. But going into this season, the kids have really worked hard. Had a great summer. It's hard to call this the fall part of the season because it hasn't felt like it at all. So we've had to be inside. But the kids have really been working hard, and we're excited for this season. A great work ethic and a great healthy chip on our shoulder. We're ready to get back to work, and we're looking forward to this season.
Coach Murray, I ran into Mike Shaddles a few days ago and got to have a little conversation with him, and he seems to be really, really excited about some of the guys he's coaching. You've put together an incredible staff over there, really some legends. You mentioned Coach Doug Parrish. I know Carl Willis is over there with you now, right, and you've got some guys that have been with you a long time as well. Tell us a little bit about your coaching staff.
Well, the first thing you got to start with were the guys that we work with. We're a family, and we care deeply about one another, and that certainly helps tremendously. And we're like a bunch of brothers with our ego in the street. We're not worried about who comes up with an idea. We just want to put our kids in the best chance they can be to be successful. But of course, Mike Shadows has been with me for a long time. He's going to help run the offense along with Tyler Lowe, who's Alan Lowe's son, who I've worked for at Deerfield for all those years. So we're thankful to have him. Mike Smith's a great friend of mine. We go way back, played softball, and just been through it together. He helps with it all. He does our offensive line and helps me with our linebackers and helps me with the defense. Of course, you mentioned Carl Willis, who may be one of the most positive people I've ever met. I've truly enjoyed getting to know Coach Willis. He helps with our receivers and our passing game. And like I say, he gives me a positive word if I ever get a little patience runs a little thin. And then Doug Parrish, who I think this may be his 66th consecutive football season, something like that. A real legend in this community. And he coaches our interior defensive tackles. And he still coaches them how you're supposed to coach them. And helps with the offensive line. And we just hired Jasper Mason, came over from Columbus, who played linebacker in college. He's going to help with the linebackers and tight ends. And he's our strength coach. So we're turning our wellness center over to him. But like I said, we're just a family. Our families we're all in this together. And I have a great group of guys that understand it's more than just football. We want to teach more than just a game we're coaching, but also the game of life. And what a great group to do it with.
We are talking with Coach Rod Murray, the head football coach at Southland Academy. Our program today is also brought to you by Marty McDonald State Farm Insurance. His office is located at 925 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here in Americus. Drop by and see Marty or any of his staff, or give them a call at 928-3686. They would love to sit down with you and discuss your insurance needs. Marty can even do the discount double check to make sure you're receiving all of the savings that you're qualified to receive. And like always, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Rod, you guys play in the GIAA. You're a Class AAA school, and traditionally your region has been incredibly tough. Most of the top-rated schools have been in your region, so I know it's a tough battle. I got to looking over your schedule last year and this year as well, and you start with some pretty good teams that are out of the public school ranks in Taylor County and Marion County. Talk to me a little bit about your schedule and about those teams that you're going to have to beat to make it to where you want to go.
Well, other than the 2 years that I was at Gatewood, I've been in this region my whole career. And you have to be ready to go every Friday night when you tee it up with the teams in our region. But we're fortunate to play Marion County with Billy Law over there. I'm from there, so it's a great time to play them. Very good team. Then we play Taylor with Coach Brandon over in Butler. And, of course, that's good competition for us because they're very physical, both of them. And it gets us set. Then I got a list. We play Westfield every year, and everyone's going to recognize this name. But Chad Campbell, who played baseball here with me at Southwestern, he's their head coach there. That spent a long time in the public school in Peach County and Hawkinsville. Then we play SGA, which every year Southwest Georgia is a very, very tough football team traditionally every year, and that's going to be the same this year. Gatewood, who's won a couple of AA state championships and can run the option with anyone. And then, of course, we get to Brookwood, Tift area, which is another friend of ours. And Coach Soliday does an extremely good job with his kids. Valwood, Deerfield, and Terrell, which all these guys and their staff do a great job of coaching the football players. And you better be ready every Friday night in our region. And you can't take anything for granted in this region at all. But it's going to be very physical football every week. And we have a very good schedule for us, so we're excited about it.
Rod, I know one of the things that caught me by surprise last year was that you guys used Max Prep's rating system to kind of funnel your playoffs, to seed your playoffs. And really, as you looked at that throughout the season, man, it looked like they got it right.
Yeah, it came out right. And if you look at it, for the most part, we got some schools in our region that are pretty well represented in that Max Prep's ranking. Of course, lately for a while, it's gone through John Millage, But the Max Preps ranking at the end of the day, they probably have the best teams left and the best teams playing as each round of the playoffs go by. It's been something to get used to because when I first got in the league, you were seeded 1 through 4 out of your region, and then 4 crossed over with a 1 from another region. But all in all, at the end, we believe that the ranking system has to play the teams at the end that need to be played. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting to follow it.
Coach Murray, it's sometimes hard to imagine that guys that are our age, you and I, are now kind of considered veterans. Doesn't seem like it ought to be that way. You know, this age thing's catching up to us. I'd be interested to hear who some of the coaches that you've coached with are the guys that really impacted you. I know as a baseball coach, I look at guys I played for or coached with, and I kind of took something from each one of them. Who are those guys that as you were coming up, cutting your teeth as a coach, that really impacted the way you coach now?
Well, Tim, I've been very blessed with the people that I've been around, and I don't take that for granted. So, but in high school, Rusty Tundy and Mike Bedlon were my coaches, and I realized early on that I wanted to coach because I was a kid who lost a dad, and they helped fill the void for me in that role. And then I got to college, and I played, as you know, for Bill Haywood, who was a very good influence on me, wanted to do things right. Then probably the main keg of this is when I met Melvin Kinslow. He hired me out of college. He believed in me. We played a lot of golf together. And you got to remember, the first head football coach I worked for was Love McMichael.
Yeah.
Now, you can't go wrong with Coach McMichael. And the first baseball coach I worked with was Wilkie Smith. So everyone knows these names. So this is the road that I've been on. And, of course, Craig Rhodes, who took me under his wing as a young coach when I didn't know what I was doing, and taught me a lot of stuff, how to be a professional coach, about how you handle yourself, how you work. Don't just be a worker. Help me learn how to really break down film. Melvin just believed in me, and to this day, I'm great friends with him. And he told me the first thing I need to do is just make the head coach's job easier. So as we go along and work for W.T. Henry at Deerfield, which you couldn't ask for a better man to work for than that. So lucky been around Melvin and Mr. Henry. Alan Lowe was the head coach that we had at Deerfield, and man, I learned a lot from him about really organization, show a lot of fundamentals. But the biggest thing I learned was you don't worry about things that are most important, and I learned that from Alan. Of course, I'm getting to work with his son now, and so it's been a fun ride for that. And I've got Gordy was our athletic director. But then I got to become close with a guy that's still close to me, with Ty Kinslow. It's like a brother to me, a close friend. I ended up working for him. He was the headmaster here at Southland when I came back. And I can't say that group of people, along with working for Larry Collins now, but with Ty's influence helped me because, we coached baseball together.
Yeah.
Ty and Melvin were in the dugout with us. We even had Banks, so we had the whole game there for a while, and it was a great run. But these people, these men, have really helped mold me and who I am, and we all steal from each other and turn into how we want to do things. But there's some people I didn't name that, but I've been so blessed. The coaching staff we got at Deerfield, coach staff I have now, of course. But it all started with Coach Kinslow. Everybody knows him and knows the role he's had in a lot of people's lives, along with a lot of people that I named. But if you're a young coach, if you're lucky to be around the people that I've worked with and had to work for, be around, I'm just extremely lucky and blessed, Tim, to be around those guys that have helped me.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned those coaches that you coach with now, Rod. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I've had conversations with several of those guys on your staff. The Coach Doug Parishes, Coach Carl Willis, Mike Smith, Mike Shaddles, and those guys speak in very high regard of you. So that tells me you've got their respect, but I imagine you still learn a lot from those guys every day.
Every day I learn something from those guys. And that's the neat thing about this. we all learn from one another, and we feel like if we've learned it all, we probably need to find something else to do, perhaps. But the guys that I work with here daily, you can't, you're constantly learning from them. But more than anything, Tim, we're friends and we love kids, and the kids see us hanging out together and working well, and it's contagious with your players on your roster, which I'll talk about it here in a few minutes. But yeah, the guys you nailed it. I couldn't ask for a better group of people. You're going to go into a football game, because winning football games is hard at every level.
Yeah.
And you got to be surrounded with the right folks that's all in. And the people that I named were all in. People that I work with each day were all in. And you got to have that. And extremely thankful for what we've got. And every day we don't take it for granted. I know Doug Parrish and I came up kind of similar. And early in the morning, everyone knows that Coach Parrish likes to get up a little early. And I just enjoy sitting, and we may not even talk about football, but these guys we spend time with, talk about family, talk about life, because it's not easy what we do, and you need to enjoy the journey. And what a group that I've been around, what a group I have to enjoy it with now.
Coach Rod Murray is from Southland Academy. Rod, one of the neat things about our program each week is WMNZ AM 1050 in Montezuma takes the audio off of our program and plays it on their radio station each week. So we want to thank Lance Till and the staff over at WMNZ AM 1050 in Montezuma. Coach Murray, this is the part of the show that I really look forward to every week. I give my guests a chance to talk about their family and friends behind the scenes that really lift them up. Coaching life is tough, and you got to have a support network behind the scenes. Tell us about your family and those folks that keep you lifted up.
Well, absolutely. You have to start with my wife, Meredith. She puts up with me during the season and off season. And I got to have her with me. She's my best friend. And she's been with me since we got hired at Gatewood, and she drove up to Eatonton from Americas each day, and we came back just to get through spring practice. And our wedding was around the timing of football, about when we could have a wedding and everything. So I gotta start with Meredith. And my mother-in-law, Donna Law is also a Spanish teacher at school, so I'm surrounded. I always have my mother-in-law with me at all times, so she keeps me straight. And then my aunt and uncle Steve James and Deborah James, my aunt Joe and Joe Jones and Jason and Jeff Jones, my cousins. I mean, I've looked in the stands at some state championship games and Aura games and any game, and they're always there. And it's just nice to know when we go at the end of the game, sing a alma mater, and the next group I look for is my family, and we're all in. So then I got some close family friends, Miss Beverly Butcher and Miss Mary Marshall. They're not going to miss an outing. And of course, you mentioned my friends, and I've got a great group of guys that I play golf with. We're all in this together, and I lean on them tremendously. And again, it starts with my dad, who was a Green Beret, and I lost him when I was 11. And then my mom was the main keg in my life. She even tried to catch bullpens for me when I was young, growing up after my dad had passed. So it's been a very strong group effort for me to get where I am. And you can't be somewhere by yourself. You have to have some help along the way. And that's my close support staff, and we all have a role in this. And I'm just an extremely blessed human being to have these people.
Rod, this wasn't a part of what you and I talked about, but right before we went on today, I got a message from somebody else that is evidently a good friend of yours. Miss Deborah Sloan over at Georgia Southwestern shot me a message and said, "Man, I can't wait for this. He's one of my guys."
But let me tell you, when I was at Southwestern, she took care of a lot of people, and if we needed someone to get us in line, it was her. But if we needed someone to help us give us some direction, Deborah sure was. And She took care of a lot of people and guided us around, and it was just a fun time to be at Southwestern with all those guys that were there. And Deborah kept all of us straight, not just me, but she kept everyone in that building straight and still does to this day. And I got to mention the education and the time I had at Southwestern was, I couldn't replace it, and I wouldn't have wanted to do anything different than where I was. And it was a great moment for me and set me up to be where I am now.
Absolutely. And we've got a new sponsor that starts today, Booger Bottom Yacht Club. And every week what we'll do is we'll have our Booger Bottom wrap-up question. And Booger Bottom has been voted in the Reader's Choice as the best burger in Sumter County several times running. So go by and see Miss Sue, Rick, Russ, Renee, all the folks over at Booger Bottom, and let them wrap you up with the best burger in Sumter County. They're located right on the banks of Lake Blackshear. Coach Murray, we're only a matter of days now from the opening of the 2023 season. And knowing that you're speaking to many of the Raider fans today on this program, what can they expect to see from your squad here in 2023?
Well, you're going to expect to see us play our brand of football, which is to be physical, play fast. And we got a lot of players, like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that played early in their career. So we have some experience. We have some depth. But that we're going to be physical at the point of attack, and we feel like we're going to be able to move the ball not only on the ground but in the air. Our guys are doing a great job, but just the passion and the desire that these kids, you'll get to see them play, would look like we're going to have a lot of urgency when we move around. Those are things that we try to do. It goes along with our word grit that's on all our helmets and shirts, with godly in what you do and how you act, and respect the process, be intelligent, then you can be intense, and then trust and love your teammates. And this football team is really showing that, and we're very thankful for the effort over the summer, and we feel like we're going to see it in the fall.
Coach Murray, it's been great to have you on today. I hope you'll come back and be a part of this again. One of the things that we're going to start doing on August the 17th is we'll do our show live every Thursday night from the Roman Oven Pizzeria, and we'll preview your game, Sumter County's game, as well as Schley County's game, our three area teams. Hope you'll come by there during the season and talk with us a time or two. But, man, we wish you the best of luck. You and I have been friends for a long time, and I'll always pull for you. Good luck to the Raiders.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for all the Southland family that comes out and cheers for us, and the support that we get from the Southland faithful, and we thank you for that. And good luck to our local football teams as well. We all want to have a great year.
We want to thank you as well for watching the Integrity Sports Podcast, powered by Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. We want you to make this a part of your weekly routine. If you are watching this on Facebook, hit the like button and share it. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much. We're trying to build our YouTube presence and get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So go on our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. This program will be available on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and several other podcast and social media platforms. For my good friend, Coach Rod Murray, I'm Tim Estes. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody.